A question that has perplexed humanity for, well, ever, is what happens after death? And the eventual question after this was, if something does happen after death, what is it like? There are a few theories that go around about this. Some people believe in ghosts and spiritual beings. Ooh, spooky. The Vikings believed in the 9 realms, and then there is reincarnation, which just sounds awful, by the way. Imagine being a human and then being reincarnated as like a cactus. But the most well-known and believed version of the afterlife is heaven and hell. The whole idea is that depending on what you do in this life, you either get an eternal reward, aka heaven, or you get eternal torment, aka hell. Now, I want to talk about the problems with this concept. Let's start with hell. When people think of human beings burning in hell, they think of the absolute worst of humanity. Murderers, thieves, people that make TikToks and watch them. But looking at different religions show you don't have to necessarily commit a war crime to end up in hell. In Christianity, if you don't accept God's love, thereby choosing not to be with him, then, well, have fun with Lucifer. Basically same thing for Islam. If you worship other gods/figures other than Allah, then womp womp, you just failed the test of life. And in Buddhism, a woman will be sent to hell and forced into a blood bowl sutra. They are tormented by the hell wardens and are forced to drink their own menstrual blood. They are punished like this because the blood produced by their bodies pollutes the grounds and offends the earth gods. Well, that's interesting. Now, I'm not saying that I think these rules are foolish, apart from Buddhism. I mean, I kinda get it. If I was an all-powerful god and I created these intelligent, aware creatures, and suddenly some of them don't believe in me, what the fuck? I created you, idiot. And now you're giving me the silent treatment? You stupid skeleton with meat wrapping. I just wanted to show that, according to these religions, a person who doesn't believe in God or believes in the wrong God can get the same punishment as a serial killer, which doesn't exactly seem right. The Divine Comedy is an epic poem released in the 1300s and written by an Italian dude named Dante Alighieri. We'll just call him Dante. It describes Dante's journey through hell and the 9 circles that inhabit it. In the book, it says the further you go down, the worse the sin is. For example, Circle 2 is reserved for people who gave into lust. Their punishment is that they are tossed around by strong winds forever. Circle 3 is for people guilty of gluttony. They have to suffer through a constant snow and dirt storm. Circle 6 is reserved for people who rejected religion. Their punishment is being stuck in a flaming tomb. And Circle 9 is for people that betrayed their family, nation, friends, and God. Their torture is that they are stuck in a frozen lake, sometimes fully, sometimes not, except for 3 guys, Judas, Brutus, and Cassis, I think, who are being chewed on by the devil himself. Sounds fun. I think it's important to tell you that this book is basically a fanfic on Christianity. None of it should be taken literally, but it does have an interesting idea to it. Are the punishments in hell personalized? I mean, it makes much more sense than everyone getting the same punishment. Well, this presents a whole new problem, being grateful. Now, this may seem weird to say when talking about hell, but imagine that you're a thief, and you've been sent to be tormented in hell for all eternity. You are in complete pain and misery, but then you learn that people who were murderers get an even worse punishment than you for all eternity. After learning this, you actually feel grateful that you get to go through this easier punishment than the murderers. Sure, you're in hell, but at least you don't have it bad as those guys. I also want to talk about the eternity aspect of it, which is problematic as well. Humans are very dumb creatures. I'm gonna be honest here. Like, if aliens came to test our species, we wouldn't even pass question 1. But luckily for us, we're capable of change. Everyone, if they realize it or not, has a growth mindset. People don't just stay with the same goals and morals throughout their whole life. I mean, you've probably just changed over this weekend when you realized laying on the couch, eating chips and watching nothing but Netflix was not a smart way to spend your weekend. What makes humanity awesome is that we can learn and grow into something better. This means that if somebody was sent to an eternity in hell, they would eventually become a person worthy enough of heaven. If I told you right now, oh hey there, you're going to hell. Yeah, sorry, nothing I can do. Would you sit there and think, well, I'm a bad person, this is my destiny? No, you would think, holy crap, I have to change and become a better person. If hell was truly just, then bad people, or people that sin, would be sent to hell until they've learned and grown into a better person. They wouldn't be tortured forever since they're better people than before. People who would be good enough to go to heaven. Speaking of heaven, let me tell you how heaven isn't as great as it sounds. Heaven sounds like such a great place. Actually, scratch that. It's the best place. I mean, it is. Once you're there, you'll be filled with absolute joy and happiness. But the more you look at it, the more you realize it's not as good as it appears. I have a question for you. What happens if you go to heaven, but your parents don't, or your best friend doesn't, or the love of your life does not? Do you think that you can be happy in eternal paradise if the people you love aren't there with you? You could never be truly happy in heaven. It actually doesn't matter if you love the person or not. Everyone you ever loved on earth could be in heaven, but you'll still get these thoughts. Thoughts like, how could you even feel the slightest amount of joy if someone out there is in pain? While you indulge in eternal happiness, people are suffering. There are people forever right now being tortured. A few years ago, I came across a show that is now one of my personal favorites called The Good Place, and it presented a question I never really considered. If heaven is forever, wouldn't it eventually get boring? I mean, it makes sense. If you have too much of a good thing, then it will eventually seem normal and mundane. It's like when people have drugs for the first time. It's amazing, incredible, life-changing even, but after 50 more times, it's no longer that. I've seen people try to justify this by saying that a day with God is 1,000 years, saying that since God will bring pure and raw joy, it will feel as if only a day has passed, when in reality it's been millenniums. But again, eternity is a very, very long time. It doesn't matter if a day in heaven took 100 years or 1 trillion. Eternity goes on forever, therefore you'll eventually get bored of it. But why are we even talking about the problems with heaven anyway? Because no one who ever existed, past, present, or future, will ever go to heaven. Why? Why would I make such a bold claim? Well, let me ask you a question. If you believe in heaven and hell, does that make you a good person? Because if you do, then all of your actions are selfishly motivated. Do you buy presents for your family members because you want to be kind, or because you want to get into heaven? Do you donate to charity because you want to help people, or because you want to avoid hell? Do you try to be a caring person to everyone around you because that's what you really want to do, or is it to look good on your moral resume? Now, even if you don't believe in heaven and hell, your motivation is still corrupt. You could do something nice because you're peer pressured into it. You could be exceptionally kind just because you like the attention, or you could do the right thing since there's the expectations of you. I am not saying that people do this consciously. I am sure a lot of people are really kind, but your actions are not purely kind. It could be 20% or 80%, but never 100%. There are still selfish things motivating you to do good things, and I can't believe that any god would let such selfish creatures into paradise. But I also can't imagine any god sending such loving, kind, compassionate creatures to eternal torture. Well, there has to be a silver lining to this. I've brought up many different ideas of the afterlife in this video. Heaven and hell, reincarnation, spirits, but there has been one interpretation I have left out, and that's the belief in nothing. That there isn't another life after this one, and that's what I believe. Most people do believe that there was a time when they simply did not exist. You obviously can't remember what that was like because it wasn't anything. Not a black void or a blinding light before you were alive, just nothing. And that's what I imagine it's like after death. Absolutely nothing. This is what freaked me out when I first thought about it. I felt like I was a pun in a stupid joke. You don't exist, then you do, then you don't. What fun. But it slowly got better and better as I realized if this is the only life I get, my 80 years of being alive if you will, I better make the fucking most of it. Because as stupid and absurd as this existence can be, you only get one ride. You might as well make it the best ride of your life. I want to make it clear that this video isn't an attack on people who believe in heaven and hell. This is just a video about the flaws I see in this afterlife. If you have a defense or a reason for why some of my arguments don't hold up, I would love to hear them in the comments. I hope you all have a wonderful day and don't think about death too much, or it'll drive you crazy and force you to make a script about it. Thank you for watching.